All right, guys, so it's the next day. Our brakes are supposed to be here today. So my plan for this morning is to go ahead and get the brake pads and the calipers off so that we can get these rotors out of there. So when the new ones come in, we can just throw them on there, get everything bolted up. And then we'll be good to go besides the CV boots. Those are supposed to be here on Friday, so I went ahead and made me an appointment for Monday to get my car aligned. So hopefully our alignment isn't too bad and we can actually go for a drive this weekend. But if not, that'll be all right. But I'm pretty sure I can get it close enough that we can at least go for a drive. Anyways, so I wanted to start off today doing a boost leak test real quick. It's pretty simple, especially on this car. So I did take the intake back off. Here is our boost leak tester. I did buy this one off eBay for, I don't know, about $30, I think. It looks like it's just a PVC cap with an air fitting and the gauge in there, and with our adapter. So pretty simple. We just we got this little piece that comes out of our inlet tube here. We just throw that on there, tighten down. We'll go ahead and tighten down our clamps here. You want to make sure. I like to take the oil cap off of here. That way the crankcase can breathe. It will come up through the air oil separator also. So that line's off of there. You want to make sure everything else is all plugged. We have two back here that we have plugged because we don't use these on our tube, and then we just have our blow-off valve one down there. So we should be good. I'm just going to take that oil cap off, tighten this up, and then we'll get the air compressor going, and then it's pretty simple. After that, we just hit this with the air compressor, bring it up slowly, listen for any leaks, and try to see if we can get up to around 20-25 pounds without any leaks or anything blowing off of there. So let's get started on that. All right, guys, so we got our clamps all tightened down here. We got the oil cap off of there. So depending if there's a valve open or not, we might hear some air escaping through the PVC or the oil cap area, or maybe even inside the motor. So we'll just go ahead and hit this thing with some air and see what we get. Hopefully nothing blows off in my face. All right, so that's 10 pounds. Everything seems to be good at 10 pounds. I think they say that a good pressure drop, you don't want it to drop any more than 1 pound of pressure per second. And obviously it's taking way longer. It's barely going down at all. But I can hear some air inside the motor, I believe. So I'm gonna turn this air compressor on and see if we can get a little more pressure in there. All right. See if we can get a little more. So it sounds like we can hear, pretty sure that's the wastegate fluttering back there, because we do have these boost lines still on there. So at about 14 pounds, when it tries to open, you can hear the wastegate back there. But all right, so we can get a little bit better view for you guys here. So here's our gauge. See if we can get this air fitting to work. so there is 20 pounds. Like I said, what you can hear, I'm pretty sure is just the wastegate. So as you can see, it is slowly bleeding off. So I think everything looks good. It's still at 10 pounds, so it's very slowly bleeding off, which it's going to, because the air can, like I said, it can get by in a couple areas. So I think we're probably good here. I can throw that intake back on there real quick. Let's get this air out of here. All right, so we got our intake back on there. I'm pretty happy with the boost leak test. We got it up to 20 pounds and it held it just fine, so I think that we're good. The only reason I did it is because I did take this pipe off yesterday. Right here, so I just wanted to make sure we don't have any leaks right here, blow off valve, any leaks up here in our new sensor, down here where it connects to the rest of the piping. So that all looks good. So I think we're gonna go ahead and move on to our brakes. I think I'm gonna pull the brake pads out first, and then we will get that caliper off of there. Put it over to the side and get all the rotors off, and pretty much just get it ready so that we can put everything on when UPS shows up today. All right, guys. So this is gonna be my first time doing these brakes. So we have these little pins that need to come out right here, and they just hold these clips on there, these pins in there, so we're gonna need to knock those out. That's just gonna sit in there like that. So we just gotta make sure and put everything back the same way. So we got those pins out of there. All right. So now, there are 2 bolts. I think the brake pad should slide out of here, but anyways, we do have these 2 bolts in the back. There's 2 19s. Luckily, they were not very tight on this car, which is a good thing and a bad thing because you want them to be tight, but you don't want them to the point where they're so tight that they won't come back out. Looks like there's a little anti-seize on there, so that's good. All right, got that one out of there. All right, we got both those bolts out. Pop this little guy out of there. There's our brake pads. All right, so here's the pads that came off of there. As you can see, they're really not in that bad a shape. They're just super old. Since those pads are fairly new, you can see these pistons haven't really came out very far, so we don't need to press them in very far. But what I like to do to press them in, press the pistons back in there, is I'll go ahead and take an old brake pad, slide it down in here, and throw a clamp on here and push it back. Okay, so I have the old brake pad just sitting in here. I put a rag on the outside because I don't want to mess up the paint. This really isn't the right way to do it, but it does work. And you just get your little clamp and just tighten her back in there. Just like that. It doesn't take much. It is a good idea to go ahead and remove the cap from the master cylinder so that it can allow that pressure and the fluid to go back up in that reservoir. So same thing on this side. We'll just get this rag in there, We got our clamp and our brake pad. And we'll just slowly turn that. And there we go, bottomed out. Like I said, we didn't have to go very far because these pads do have quite a bit of life left, but they've been in there a long time, so it's just best that we replace it, and then we know that they were done. All right, so this side is done and ready. As you can see, I kind of wiped these down with some degreaser, some brake clean. As you can tell, the powder coat still is in pretty good shape. There are a few little scratches. I'm not sure what happened. Maybe a wheel weight at some point hit this, but we got them wiped off pretty good. So we got this one done. So we can go ahead and get the rest of them off of there. If I have any problems with the back ones, which I might, as far as getting the rotor off, then I'll show you guys what you got to do there. Okay, so these back ones should pretty much be the same. I think they're just smaller, basically. I think there's two 14s in the back right here. So we will pop these little clips out first and push these little guys out of there. All right, we got both of those out of there, so we can slide these pads out, and these are looking pretty new, just like the front ones. Get these pads out of here. All right, looks like it is a 17 back here. Geez, that one wasn't even tight. Feels like a little kid was working on this thing with how loose it is. So we got that caliper out of there. Go ahead and push these pistons in. They're super easy to push in. You can pretty much just put the brake pad on there and push it in with your fingers. I thought that I would need to use a clamp, but you don't. All right, so we'll just set that caliper back there. So now we need to pop this rotor off of here. Make sure your e-brake's not on. We'll take two 12 millimeter bolts and thread them in here. Just thread them into the holes right here, and then we'll slowly back it off. So we'll tighten one side a little bit, tighten the other side a little bit, and this this rotor should just start to slide right off. There we go. Get these back out of there. And we got that off of there. So these guys look like they still got a little bit of life left on them. So we're just gonna hit it with some brake clean. And then we will adjust it. We'll adjust these when we put our new rotor on. All right, so now that one's clean, we'll go ahead and go do the other side real quick. All right, guys, so I got all of the brakes off of there, all the rotors, calipers, all that stuff. So now we just gotta wait for UPS. I did run into a problem. So on the back passenger side caliper, both the bolts decided that they would snap. So now we have bolts stuck in here. I already drilled this one out. I'm just not having any luck with it. So I think I found a machine shop that will drill them out and rethread them for me. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this thing out there. Hopefully they can get it done in the next couple days. But it's just buying a new one right now really isn't an option unless I have to, because they're just super expensive. I mean, a brand new one is $600–700, so that just seems kind of crazy. So yeah, we're just gonna see if we can get these things drilled out, and I'll update you guys when I get back. All right, guys, so I just got back from the machine shop. They said that they could drill out those bolts and rethread them, so hopefully we get that done here in the next couple days. Our appointment for the alignment is Monday morning, so and today is Wednesday, so we should be good as long as those get done by Friday. We should be able to get everything put back in there. But while I was gone, UPS did show up, so we have our boxes here with our brake stuff. So I'm gonna go ahead and open that stuff and see what we got. All right, guys, so I did go with R1 Concepts. We got our brake pads here. We got our rear pads. We got our front pads. And we got all of our hardware for the front and for the back. All right, and for the brake rotors, we went with the same company, R1 Concepts, the carbon GEOMET brake rotors. They are cross drilled and slotted. So this is going to be a rear rotor. They look pretty nice. They have this coating on them that will wear off just right here where the brakes go. So everything else should be good. It shouldn't rust or anything. So we'll see how they work out. They were a pretty good deal. I think I ended up getting the rotors, the brake pads, and all the hardware for right around $400. So that's not bad at all. They did have a 30% off code, so you can always check out their website, and they have deals going on all the time. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get the rest of this stuff opened up, and then we can start doing the front brakes. All right, guys, so we're ready to start on our brakes. Here's what we got. So we got all our brand new hardware, our clips, some caliper grease, and here's our new rotor, side by side with the old one. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. It should be fairly simple, just the reverse of what we did earlier. All right, guys, so I'm gonna start off with spraying down the back of this rotor with some brake clean. All right, then we're just gonna throw this guy up on here. We got that on there. Spray off this front side. All right, so we already pushed our pistons in, so we can go ahead and mount our caliper on here. So we'll just throw both of these bolts in here. Tighten those up. And we can slide our brake pad down in there. All right, we got both our pads in there. All right, so we're just gonna throw a little bit of caliper grease on here. Got that on there. Slide this little pin right down there. Same thing with this one, just a little bit of caliper grease. All right, so now we're gonna stick this up underneath the top one. Then that just goes right down under the bottom. All right, guys, there we go. That's all there is. That's all there is to it. Got our brake pads in here, new hardware, new rotor. So now I'm gonna go ahead and move on to the other side. All right, well, that's pretty much gonna do it for me today. Today's Wednesday, so I think by Friday we should have our CV boots so we can get our axles back in there, and we should also have our caliper back for the rear brakes so we can get the rear brakes done, get everything back together so we can make our appointment on Monday to get the car line. So go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe to my channel. I'll talk to you guys here in a couple days when we get the rest of our parts in.